Hey, I'm Ryan with TS Paranormal Productions, Trap Souls Podcast, whatever you want to call me. I'm here with Nacho from Verona Ghost Chasers, Justin from Southern Ohio Paranormal Society. It's always a mouthful. And our special guest tonight, Dr. J. Blackburn, out of Pennsylvania, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, out of Pennsylvania. Um, haven't met Dr. J before through Nacho. He's telling us last episode that we did that kind of taught him some stuff. So I'm going to let Nacho take it away a little bit here and what he learned from and get from here.
So I met Jay unofficially like 2 years ago at Hillview Manor, and through another group. Excuse me, and we became Facebook friends, and I'm watching him, and he's doing all this education stuff, and I'm like, damn, that's cool. I want in on this education stuff, but I don't have time right now. So I started poking around, finding a few different things, and somewhere, well, I guess we met him at Hillview again for HillCon this year, and we had found the paralearning courses and started doing them. And so Jay was talking about it a little bit. I'm like, well, you know, you inspired me to do this. You're the reason that I want to better myself, get education in this, and learn as much as I can um, with what I got to work with. So I started doing these paralearning classes, and then Jay's invited us out a couple times to do some different investigations, and we've had a really cool time learning it. Just watching what he does and how he interacts with spirits, and it's it's a lot different than what I think most people think when they go out. Oh, there's a spirit here, and it can see me, and I can see it, and we're going to do this and that and that and this. Um, and I'll let him to get into a lot of this other stuff, but he takes it so much deeper than most of us take it. And that really inspired me to be like, if I'm going to do this, I want to learn as much as I can about it. And, I'm not going to learn all this stuff watching YouTube or whatever. So practical learning is great, but when you can get into some of the science and stuff that really is involved in this, it's just a whole nother level, and it just really gets me cranked up and wanting to get out there every single chance I can.
So, is it call you Dr. J or Dr. Blackburn or what do we call?
You just call me Jay, you'd be fine.
All right, Jay. So, why don't you let's backtrack. How'd you get into this and start, educating yourself more?
Well, I'm actually originally from Pike County, Kentucky. That's probably about 30 minutes south of Williamson, West Virginia. And if you guys know anything, one of the hot spots in Williamson, West Virginia was actually the old hospital in College Hill. So that little town where I was born and raised at, and if anybody has done research in between West Virginia and Kentucky, there's always something strange going on right in between the mountainside and stuff like that. So I was raised up on like my mom and all of them been seeing like one of their aunts that passed away and stuff like that. So I was pretty much just brought into it, but I really didn't get into it too deeply until I was going like probably about 90. I was 1999. My mom's dad, he passed away with lung cancer, and I was really close to him. So that kind of hit me, and the evening that we buried him, I was going to bed, back home. We have like 2 nights of viewing, and then we bury him the next, on that third day. And so within all that time, I barely slept, and I was laying down. It was in like right at about the end of August, beginning of August. Like I said, it's been training some years ago, so But I remember it being so hot, and Kentucky's got humidity. Just it sucks, you know. And so I had I had a ceiling fan on, a box fan going on, a window open, and I just had like a little thin, sheet over top of me, just kind of keep me comfortable. Well, all of a sudden I felt this bigger blanket come over top of me and tuck me in. And I rose up and I saw this little shadow that was his height, his width and everything, and he just turned around and went downstairs. I didn't hear no footsteps, anything. Nobody heard it. Nobody broke into the house. Wasn't my parents. So I'm like, something's up with that, And then I started thinking a little bit more and more. And then you know how life goes. Life happens. You kind of get away from it. And then I ended up going through a divorce. And me and my wife now, we was going out. We was sitting there. We was watching TV and stuff like that. I'm like, that's pretty funny. I'm watching all these guys running around with like just regular old cameras and stuff. And I'm like, maybe I need to start getting back into this just a little bit more. Because this, because over there where we lived at, it was strange too. I was starting to see shadows and stuff like that again. And then yet again, we kind of blocked out, and we ended up moving up in Pennsylvania. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's time. I think it's really time to start really digging into this a little bit more. And from there, we started in 2018, and I was going through different little programs, and I was watching some of these guys around here do this stuff. And I'm like, no, something's not right. Something's, and I started thinking, well, I'm big on, trying to figure out like the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, things like that. You always heard the theories on Bigfoot. People see the tracks, but they're gone. Okay, there's a reason why. What happened? And like I said, with Loch Ness Monsters, I've always believed that there was like the whole multiverse and the way it would actually interact with us. So I decided one time, at one point, when I started this whole degree, I'm like, well, I need to find something. There was something in my life I needed to complete. And so I'm shooting around looking through the internet. And I found this one on parapsychology and stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. I remember back in the day, they offered that back in like early 80s and, stuff like that. So my wife looked at it. I let her look over it. And she's really in depth, when it comes to education and stuff like that. So when she came back and she told me, babe, this is you. You need to do this. So she was pretty much, the big anchor that I had to get me pushed to start doing this more.
Uh-huh.
And, if I made an impact, like I told Nacho, if I made an impact on somebody, I really wasn't planning on it. That's not me.
No, I mean, so through all your studies and everything, like you said, something just didn't seem right. A lot of paranormal groups out there, right? I mean, thousands and thousands of them. Some of us, but I think majority of us are on the same page when it comes to like his history and all that. What do you see the biggest difference between most groups?
A lot of drama for one. A lot of the egos, and I know some people that wants to be the center of all attention. You can't live your life like that, and that's the thing. If you carry that into that, your life's going to be the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I connect with Nacho and Justin, those two groups well, because I don't think we're ego maniacs. We're doing it right. I think we're going out there and, having fun, but also investigating like we're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of egos out there. There's a lot of people that say, I do it right, you do it wrong type thing. My evidence is real, your evidence is fake.
Yep.
You see it all the time. If anybody posts evidence, because we've been talking about that lately too. But I mean, you guys have any questions? I don't want to talk. So Justin, do it up.
Not really a question, but my family, on my mom's side of the family, they were natives and they all kind of grew up in the West Virginia. Most of them were coal miners up in Ward, West Virginia, and my great grandfather used to tell me some of the stories at night when they'd be heading back from the coal mines down in the mountains and stuff. Some of the stuff that they would see, and mind you, he's a World War II vet. Just got out of the World War II and was out, and so not much spooked him. And there was some stuff there that he would say that just absolutely spooked him. And so and also your point about living your life with a high ego, you hit it right on the nail. And it's I would say it's deeper for that person, and I think they need to take a bigger evaluation because they're allowing that to take place of either pain or hurt that they've had in their life. I feel like that tends to be something that they endure, and I would encourage that if there's anybody that has that, get the help that you need. It's out there. I'm not upset if there's, if you have a big ego. It might not be your best friend, but I would like to see you get help if you need it, So, but yeah, I don't really have any questions so far, so I'll bounce it up to Nacho.
Oh,
Maybe Jake, excuse me. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about where you got your degrees, what spurred you to do this, as far as getting degrees and trying to get deeper into this whole realm of multiverse and spirits, and what made you decide to do that, go deeper, and where did you get your degrees from?
I ended up going through the whole doctoring program through the Institute of Human Metaphysical Science. It's a lot. It's huge. A lot of saying in that, and I'll have to just send that stuff over to you. Usually, I just go by the abbreviation. Yeah, just the way they do it. It's just the IMHS. It's out of I think Sarasota, Florida, I believe. All of it was online. It was a accelerated program, but you could win on took as long as you want. Like I said, Nacho, when I was right before I done it, I had that void, and there was something I needed to fill. I knew there was something that I needed to do, and I got told by a few other psychics that actually just came up and just gave me a reading, just right out of the blue. And I'm like, well, I didn't ask for this, but and they always said that there's something that I was meant to do, and so I went ahead and me and my wife talked about it, and she told me go for it. And she knew my theory on like the multiverse and different timelines, all that, different realities. I always believed there was something like that was in more layers. And once I started digging in a little bit more, into it, because the very first part of it is it's more on the metaphysical side of it when you're doing the studies. And that really changed my outlook on the way I saw stuff. Because I told people I used to be just a constantly hateful human being. You know, I didn't care. I just told people, whatever. I just shut off the mouth, didn't think nothing about it, didn't have no feelings. I could care less, And once I ended up doing that part of it, I'm like, huh. I actually finally accepted myself for who I am, and everything started changing. And like I said, I started digging into it a little bit more. I hit the whole paranormal science aspect of it. I'm like, well, this thing's talking the same thing I was, always thought. And it was really going back to quantum physics and string theory and all of this really big stuff. And I'm like, huh. So since I was little, I was talking like on a quantum physics type level, and I didn't even know anything about it, So that kind of pushed me a little bit more and more and more. And I ended up seeing, well, when I ran across Nacho at the last HillCon, I hit a spot that I'm like, well, am I on the right path? And this is after I got my doctorate and stuff. And the little things blinking behind you, just figure I'll let you know that. Thanks, you cat ball.
Yeah.
Hey,
Samantha.
So I ended up seeing one of the sidekicks. I got a lot, one of them I have a lot of trust. I've got a few of them I really trust. And he kind of got angry with me because I just went in and just scheduled a time when I could just call him up, And he told me, Jay, you're on the right path. He's like, both things you're doing for your job and this, you're on the right path. So, all right, cool. Well, I took it kind of like a grain of salt. I'm like, I don't know. He might be talking about my job. Well, that's where I ran into Nacho and Deborah. They were sitting over there, had a booth. I had no idea there was even anyone down this hallway. I just seen an arrow. I'm like, who's down this hallway? Oh, and then there they was, So they told me everything what he just said, and I'm like, wow, I really didn't think, with me doing this that I've made an impact on someone. That was never the goal. I just wanted to make myself more knowledgeable on it, because I've seen so many people who claim to have knowledge, but it's really stupid. I'm sorry. I'm not being normal. I'm just being blunt with it.
Yeah.
It's some of the stuff is really stupid. I've seen people who put evidence up, pictures and stuff like that. I'm like, you really got to know your equipment before you throw this stuff up. Camera sakes, and they're saying there's people walking around when it's not even people. It's reflection from chairs and the lights and all this stuff. I'm like, half the stuff you see in these little lines of stuff, I've never caught a line. Here's the way I figured that out. I debunked that. I took my cell phone. I got a couple of street lights above, probably like 2 houses down. I went out one night. I took a picture of it, clear as day, Then I took it. I started moving around like you involuntary move when you take a picture, especially with a cell phone. I got those little rods and little, glares and all that. I'm like, here you go. I kept on telling him, look at your stuff.
So, do you think like the spiritual world, you're talking like multiverse, different dimensions? Do you think majority of spirits are through different dimensions or multiverses, or?
Yeah, I mean, and Bobby can contest this. He was there when I asked one of the questions about the multiverse and the higher frequencies. I do believe they're on a different frequency, than what we are on. And with that frequency, I do believe that there's like another universe that ties into all those different frequencies. And for some reason, that cat ball over there behind you, man, is going crazy.
He likes it. That's actually an outside wall. So it's concrete. It's not a vibration. There's nothing that can vibrate that wall.
So evidently something's trying to communicate with us too.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
She likes it.
There's
There's another cat ball up here on this guy, and it hasn't gone off once.
yeah.
And I think that one's more sensitive to movement than this one is. So the fact that this one is going something is kind of odd to me. It's being touched. Something's interacting with it.
It's interesting. But yeah, that's one of the things I started asking in my past couple of investigations. I bring up the motive force and different frequencies, and I always get a positive reaction out of it. So I really do believe that when we pass on, our energy will go to wherever we want to go.
Okay. It makes sense. I mean, I've seen a couple investigators do different like frequencies through a radio, try to like, I don't know if it works. I guess you have to find the right frequency to do it. But I mean, I've seen other people try to, connect to that different dimensions, different multiverses through different frequencies. And, I didn't really notice. I was watching some show, I don't know what it was, but they're using different like frequency, like EVPs, recorders, like whatever you call it, that picks up different frequencies. And it was kind of neat how some recorders would pick up a voice, but the other recorder wouldn't because it's a different frequency.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really got that far into EVPs. Like I do them all the time, but I mean, I guess that's something to look into. So,
which it's funny that you mentioned that because back when we first started, me and Travis, I think Cole was with us at the time, but we were doing an investigation with Jennifer Paranormal or whatever. And she was using a Panasonic one. And then, Travis was using we all three were using total different brands of recorders. Mine caught something. Travis and Jennifer's didn't catch anything. And I mean, they were lined up like here, here, and here. And it's like, so that, that kind of makes sense, that there's different. So we all, when Cole was trying to buy one, he's like, which one should we get? A different one. Just because it's nice to have that, because I'm in firm belief with that is it's nice to have that different, so it could be operating at a different frequency and be able to record something that, mine may not be able to.
Yeah, we did that at Bel Air House. I had a recorder and my partner had a recorder, Aaron, and we went to the second floor like nothing happened at all. Like the most boring part of the whole house was the second floor. Went back, listened to my recorder. It was like 2.5 hours worth, nothing. And Aaron gives me hers. And I'm like, there's stuff on there, like voices. I'm like, we were in the same room the whole time. So I never really put two and two together until I figured that out. That different frequencies. I mean, it might be different dimensions where they're from. So they can only maybe they can only hear us on certain stuff. I don't know. Yeah, see?
Yeah, see?
She has the right frequency back there.
One of the easiest way I can explain like the whole motive was within well, I'm not saying with just anyone. People that really wants to understand it. And I told them to think of it this way. If we have a radio, okay, just a normal radio, none of that XM stuff, just an old school radio. How many frequencies is actually on that radio? Millions, right?
Yeah.
And usually each one you scan it and you'll pick up a station. So the way I explain it, that we be sitting here right now and we're tuned on one station, the one we're on right now, this one reality. But at the same time, we have millions of different stations running through us, running all around us right now. So, who can say that on one station there's a UFO and another station that runs through us is dinosaurs? We could probably have a dinosaur walk right through the house right now. We wouldn't have known it because we're not on that wavelength. We're not on that frequency of it. We can have an alien standing right beside of us and we would not know it.
Yeah. So one question Almay Paranormal has: what are your thoughts on taking haunted objects on an investigation with you? What are the pros and cons of doing this? I say no, but that's me.
I don't take no objects with me, really. Nacho will. He got that little Tommy thing. I think if some people would actually take something that could be haunted, it could be something that could actually interfere with what you're trying to get out of a location. I mean, if you take it to like a vendor event or something like that, I'm cool with that. I see, and that thing is still going off, Nacho. I really don't have no preference on it, and somebody wants to bring something with them, that's fine with me. That's just not me though.
See, and I'm kind of with you on that to a point. Like I don't have a preference, but I would throw out the warning of if you're going to a location to try to get answers, you may get cross contamination per se. Like you could be getting whatever is haunting that object. That might be the primary, what is truly communicating with you, and you might get some false signals, false readings. Now, if you're talking about trigger objects, a little different, right? I encourage trigger objects. Horn Paranormal, and I love that cat ball, dude. That's amazing. But
Yeah,
they do different things of where they are taking like devices that they're making to make it time period or time sensitive for certain areas, and you might get more communication out of those, right? That's where I'm like, I encourage that. I don't have a preference. And if you bring a haunted object with you, me, I'm like, so since I'm native, if I go to a location that I know is native land, I have a spirit talking stick that is what
okay.
they would do with, and I'll take it with us sometimes. That's kind of more of a trigger object, but it can entice that reaction as well. So I don't really have a preference, but
Nacho, so you guys bring what, Tommy with you?
We bring Tommy with us pretty much, unless I forget him. He's gone on every investigation we've had since then, and he kind of stays in his own lane. He is definitely a free spirit and will only do things on his accord. I could sit here and beg him to touch that cat ball for 5 days, and he wouldn't do it. And then on the 6th day, he'd be screw you, and the cat ball goes off nonstop. But if we took him to OSR. The day I got him, he went to OSR with us, and I didn't know what to expect. Right, so we were sitting down in the bullpen taking a break at some point, and there was some. I always call them kids. They're not kids, young adults, early 20s, asking questions with us. So we're asking questions. This one girl says, "Okay, what's up with the doll? Because you look kind of old to be playing with a doll." And I said, "Yeah, I am kind of old to play with a doll." And so I pulled him over and I pulled the meter over with it. And I said, "Well, you can ask him to play with this, but I can't tell you that he's going to do it or not." And for 10 minutes, they'd ask him and he'd light it up. And then wouldn't do it again. And so after these kids decided to go with us, young adults,
Kids.
as they followed us around, and the activity really picked up the rest of the night. Now, can I say 100% that it wasn't anything to do with him? I can't say that, but knowing him the way that I know him now, he doesn't interact that way. But I think he can bring energy or connect with them on a different level that I can, and he will act as a trigger object or a power source. I don't know how to get it, but he will interact with them and get us more activity.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, because you see a lot nowadays, people bringing dolls of haunted objects to places now. It's starting to pop up a lot more. Like Jessica said, are you getting, you're going to a place to get evidence of that place. Are you just getting evidence of that doll? Or is it helping, like, bring other spirits in? Or could it scare other spirits away because you're bringing another spirit into a place that's not supposed to be there? So I was just getting people's thoughts on it.
Yeah, and I agree with what what
to
Jay says. You could also bring this into play of Jay was like, know your devices, and that's the thing is you know your device. You know that this is a device that could help you, because you know it so well. You know the spirit that is connected with it. So therefore, that is where the benefit comes in. Now, if you bring a haunted object that you know nothing about, I would be worrisome. You know what I mean? Because you don't know. But whereas Nacho, you know how that spirit's going to act. You know what to expect from it. You can more or less say, yeah, that's him, or that's definitely not.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing to be able to have. That differentiate. So
I'll also say that because something has an energy to it, it doesn't really make it haunted. So, do I say he's a haunted doll? Yes, I do say that. But I don't truly believe he's a haunted doll. There's something attached to him. He's got some type of an energy to him. I've had 3 different psychics tell me and the lady that I also got him from, that he's a young boy between 7 and 10 years old, and that he's more of a trickster. And it's odd that all 4 of these people have told me the same thing. So I kind of feel like they're onto it. But nobody has told me that he's truly haunted or that he's, anything more than a spirit, an energy. And so maybe bringing him is just another energy, is just like bringing an energy portal with you and building up more energy. So I can't really speak to say that he's a haunted object that I can take and he's going to cause things to happen. It could be, it could not be.
So let's still talk about like different dimensions, like Dr. J was saying. Like, so we believe there's different dimensions, multiverse, what do you want to call them? So can an object be haunted then in this dimension or multiverse?
Could be. I mean, like I said, when we leave this physical body, we have that choice of, we can go wherever we want to go. And, it's free will. Like say, if I leave, once I leave this body and, someone has something that belonged to me or something I just want, like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hang out with these guys for a little bit. And, I'm over there hanging out with a doll or something like that, just to, maybe there's something else yet again that I missed that I need to complete before I finish going to where whatever dimension I want to go to. So
I have a question
maybe that's what's going on with Tommy.
So I have a question then, Dr. J. So pretty much, do you think though that also that like a traumatic experience for, like say a child that was being abused by family, whatever, passes away, but their safe way was Tommy, like the doll there. Do you think that could be what also could connect them to that object? Yeah. Or okay,
like a security blanket? Yeah, very much could be.
I mean, we always say when you pass and you're going to be here, you're going to go to the place you're safe, you're most comfortable with. And I mean, that could be an object too, right? I mean, it
Oh yeah.
could be a house, object, piece of land, whatever, car.
Yeah.
And it could even be people. I would even almost say, because like for my safe place, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but my safe place is my family, my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
You know, the things that we see on a daily basis, you know, mentally it puts a strain on me. But I know I can go to my family, and that's where my safe place is. And I'm not saying I'm gonna haunt my family, but you know, that is a safe place, and that's why I feel like sometimes attachments can happen, because people might see that, you know, that spirit may see that as that's a safe place for me, and they're looking for that safe place essentially.
I mean, I guess you see that all the time, and you know, hauntings. Like I moved into this house and it's haunted, so they move, and the place they go to is haunted again. You know, it's something you brought with you, or you, right? I mean, like you said, your family is your safe place, so you're gonna follow them. You know, until they're really, really scared, you might have to leave then. But I mean,
Yeah.
But I mean, us being in this field, hopefully your family's like, oh, that's just dad, you know. That's just dad being dad. So, so I'm trying to find some more questions here. There's talking about the dolls in the back. So,
Yeah, it seemed like it's just going off when we were just saying key things. I've actually noticed that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like it's almost like, oh yeah, I agree with that. You know, oh yeah, that's a good point.
like multiverse dimensions, it's really hit on that one. So, and I did have a question about that, but I forgot when we were talking. So,
She's brand new to me. I just got her in Johnstown a couple weeks ago. I got her from the ladies at the Doss house. I guess I'm losing my voice. And I've done 0 interactions with her. So I really need to sit down with her. But the fact that she's even messing with that ball tonight is something to me, because like I said, I brought her back with me and she sat on a shelf, and I have done 0 interactions with her, and shame on me.
it's okay. So, Dr. J, would talk about energy. Like a lot of people say it takes so much energy for a spirit to manipulate something. Some seem to be able to do it easier than others. We're talking about different frequencies. Like, are we just close to that frequency, and that spirit takes a lot, more to, communicate with us? Is that possible? Maybe if we're on a different frequency, it'd be easier.
Could be. I mean, this field is, I can turn around and, go through this whole program, got the doctor and all that. Would I have the 100% complete answers to what's going on? No, I don't think none of us are going to find that answer. But we're in it for the right reason, though. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like what you just asked, Ryan, I believe, I mean, that could be a big play into it. If you use like a backlight and stuff like that, that was one of my go-to things. And everybody says, well, that, you can get false, readings from that. To this day, I put them on places that we can't shake, we can't even budge. And it's pretty solid with all the places I put these lights at. And I believe Nacho can contest, because we even had it on a concrete floor. And, it was just going off as soon as we get done asking, it would just come on, go back off. And you can tell a difference when one's weaker than the other one.
Let's talk about mag lights a little bit then. I've never done them. I've seen them done. And I always thought, because you're unscrewing the battery just a little bit away, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. And some people are saying the spirits are screwing it back a little bit, just a touch to make it go off. Is it possible the spirit's energy going in between that battery and that contact is what's making going off, and them not actually physically moving it?
Yeah. I mean, they can use that energy to manipulate that little current from that battery to that spring.
I mean, what do you think is happening with the mag lights? Is it someone actually turn it on off, or someone a spirit going in between the contact and making that contact.
I believe, I mean, sometimes you can, after you get down processing, you can pick it up. You can pick that light up, and it's like 10 times colder than what it was when you laid it down. So, are they using that, that energy to go between it, like you were just saying, or the tension? They could be doing both. Yeah. They really could be just kind of getting more close to it, so they can put that, some of that energy in between all that, without really, like I said, without moving the tip of it.
Yeah. I was always wondering that when I see that, type of investigation done, because I'm like, if it takes that much energy just to do something, why would they move in mag lights? It'd probably just be easier to walk through it, or, put your finger between the contact and make that contact.
They probably, like I said, that's a 100% big possibility there too. I mean, are we going to sit there and try to watch one and try to trace that, that tip? No, probably not, because we want to get away from it so we can actually do its thing.
We were at Bushy Run Battlefield a couple weeks ago with Jay, and every time I've been with Jay, he's always got his mag light out, and that mag light gets more hits than anything. We had this statue covered in equipment. That mag light went on and off 200 times that night. The other mag light might have went off 50 times. The rest of the equipment, the dead bell went off once. We had the REM pod go off once. Nothing else went off. Oh, the K2 went off several times. But none of the other equipment went off. And it was all spaced out. It's all in the same area. So why did they like that mag light so much? My mag light was 2 feet from his, didn't touch it once. Magnite, there was another 3 or 4 feet from me. They was hammering that one too. Why they pick what they pick? No idea.
No, and you're right. Like, when we were down in Jonesville, Kentucky at the rest home there, we had all of our devices out. We had our spirit boxes. We had, and we weren't getting anything. And you could feel the residual energy. You could feel that the place, you could feel the sadness. And, we ended up pulling out a mag light, set it down. We grabbed our K2, set it down, and I ended up talking, actually having a great conversation, and learned a lot about the spirit there that was named Victor, that ended up burning the school down on accident. And he literally kind of confirmed that he was this big bad guy that he felt like he was, even though he died trying to save the kids. So, it's one of those things that, like, sometimes I get great contact with the mag light, and then other times it's like, okay, nothing wants to communicate with it. Or even I've noticed, the spring on the inside, it's like, oh man, I didn't twist it enough, or I twisted it too much, and it's like I'm not getting anything, and then all of a sudden it'll start lighting off, and it's like, okay, there's no other explanation for it. Like they have to be able to, and that's why I kind of agree with Dr. J and Ryan, that I think that they are going in between that spring and stuff, because there's no other reason why it should be lighting up. And I think that they're like, that's too complicated. I have a better solution. So
stick your finger on it.
Yeah.
A lot of questions coming through. Mark asked, what are your thoughts on apparitions and where they come from? I mean, Justin, you got a theory on this?
So, I mean, apparitions, it's one of those things, I've seen, there's a old Grant Memorial building in my local town. We used to have birthday parties at 16th birthday party. My sister's 16th. We were there until like 2 a.m. The building always had this creepy factor to it. But one of the girls said that the museum doors were shaking. So that everybody was afraid to go down there by themselves. So me and my uncle, we would walk them down to use the bathroom, stuff like that. Well, we walked down my aunt, because my aunt was a big scaredy cat, So we would walk her down, and we seen all of a sudden a light turned on in there, and all you see was, figures standing there, and then the doors started shaking ferociously. That was one of my first, interactions in the paranormal, and where apparitions come from, I feel like can be a multitude of different answers, right? We could talk about the multiverse, and it could be that there could be a frequency change that all of a sudden there it is, right? And it could be, a different dimension that's connecting with this dimension. It also could be a residual, right? There's a lot of residual energy if depending on the places and where there, someone, worked there a lot. We see it a lot in hospitals essentially that have been there for years and years. And you may see an apparition because they've got enough energy that's just built up, and you see the apparition. I feel like the answer is kind of open ended. And you guys can definitely disagree with me on that. I because I feel like it's one of those that, for me, I can't pinpoint it. I do believe that we do have to take in the fact for, reflections. We have to take in for the fact of, light light pollution that may present as an apparition, but it's not, but if you can't debunk it and there is, and you've seen it, I've tried to debunk it many times at the Grant Memorial Building. There's no way of debunking it. And I can't give you an answer of, was it actual spirits standing there? Was it residual because the building was built in like the 1800s? Or was it another dimension that was, and, I'd like to hear Dr. J on that one, definitely.
Well, like I said, I don't have, the 100% answers there, but theories, yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody, if I tell them, like everything we was talking about earlier, I'm not telling you guys that's the way it is. That's just the way I take it, when it comes to apparition, could be, just like you just said, the whole different the dimension doorway, maybe, it kind of just crossed into where we're at and where that's at. That might be how we can see them. Could be explained sometimes where they're kind of transparent too, because it didn't really cross completely into us, but it's there, But I also tell them, if you see one, that's a gift from them. So I'll always stick by that, just like my grandparents told me. If you see something like that, that is a gift from them. Nobody else probably won't even see it, but you did.
Sorry, someone had a question here about negative energies. Where was that one at?
Want to know why negative energies hung around, what would actually keep them there.
Choice,
well,
possibly.
Yeah, they have that free will, and they can be, these negative spirits. In life, there was negative. So something, their lifestyle, something was just rough, and I'm not going to sit there and say that when someone says a negative spirit or entity could result into a demon or something like that. No, it could always be something negative, just being just the way they are, their outlook when they was alive, right, or on this plane of existence. Let's put it that way. Like I said, my outlook's more positive, and I know one that's kind of not so positive. So he thinks this person can go think more on the negative things, So if they can't get away from that negative thoughts and stuff like that when they pass away, they go be a negative entity, a spirit. And why they want to hang around is, well, because they probably just want to torment someone because they have nothing better to do. And they just don't want to leave.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like negative energies. just like negative people, they made people lives miserable when they were alive. The Debbie Downers or whatever you want to call them, the assholes, you know.
There you go. I was trying to be polite, but yeah, there you go.
But I mean, that's what they did. I mean, they made their family's lives probably miserable. They were a negative person. So why not in the afterlife? They're going to do the same thing. They're going to try to make your life miserable, that place miserable, the other spirits miserable. Mm-hmm. We get it all the time in spirit boxes where you're getting someone talking through the spirit box, and this guy comes over and tells them pretty much be quiet. You know, we get it all the time with spirit boxes where you get a couple females talking, then all of a sudden they stop talking because a negative spirit comes in the room and says, puts them in their place, I guess you want to say. I don't know. But I'm going to guess it's kind of the same thing, you know, that with real life, it happens in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're just, you know, some may be so stubborn that they may not realize that they're not, you know, they're not here anymore.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's where, you know, it. And then also I would like to I'm kind of with Dr. J, I'd like to look on the bright side, and I wonder if sometimes it just comes naturally, but they're actually looking for an answer on how, or maybe they do feel remorseful, but they just come off as, you know, brash, or that's just their personality, but they come off that way. And it's like, he's actually a big lovable dude, but he just comes off brash. You know, I won't say that every negative entity or spirit that you have interactions with is always going to be, you know, was maybe that negative person in life. They just may come off that way. They just may have that personality of, you know, oh, screw you, but I actually love you, bud. You know, that kind of thing. And I feel like some people get misrepresented, you know, for that fact. But I would say most of them, though, I'd say 90% is, you know, they were miserable in life and they're miserable in the afterlife as well. So,
yeah. I mean, I get that at work, or not at work, life a little bit.
It's confirmation right here. Yeah. Everything that you just said, with Brian, you started it. Justin, you followed it up. Everything you said, this ball went off 4 times in a row.
See, that's awesome.
It's just confirmation.
Yeah, like my daughter always says that her friends are scared of me because she calls it a resting bitch face, but I call it a resting ginger face. So, I mean, but I'm a pretty nice guy usually. I mean, but she says the way they look at me and they see me is that I'm always angry, but I'm not. Just 50% of the time I'm angry. So when you have a 16-year-old daughter, that happens. What?
See what we got.
Your spirits get overwhelmed if you put too much electronic equipment out. That was from Alme.
So I'm gonna touch on this real quick, and then I'll let Dr. J take. Just because we just had this conversation with Austin Maynard that runs Underground Paranormal Network and stuff. We actually were doing an investigation at the Broadwell home right before they were doing the Travelers Project there. And through our spirit box, we got confirmation. We're like, hey, are you guys looking forward to, you know, 30-some people that's going to be staying here? Because nobody lives there at the old funeral home, but staying here, are you looking forward to that? And it said, no, miserable, draining. And it's like, you know, I think that, you know, you providing those, yeah, they can get that energy from those devices, but it's going to drain them at the same time. And they don't look forward to having that interaction. They want to, you know, live maybe peacefully there. And, you know, we're coming in with those devices and kind of begging them, annoying them. Just like if you go in your bedroom right now and someone just walks in and says, hey, and starts asking you questions, it's going to be draining, right? And I feel like it's similar. Yeah, what's your name? You know, and it's like, I feel like that's draining for some of the spirits that, you know, it maybe not for all, but I would say that for some, they don't look forward to it all the time, you know, especially if they're going to be there for a week long doing all of that, you know, that's just draining for us alone. So,
yeah.
So is it the equipment, the amount of equipment, or is it the amount of people?
I would say it's the amount of people, they're just being
I
they're
think
being
it's-
poked and prodded, right? I wouldn't say that the devices themselves, and they may actually get, I feel like they could get aggravated with the devices because they may want to interact and say, all right, leave me alone, or they do want to interact, but they can't figure out that device, right? And they don't understand it, so therefore that could aggravate. But I really feel like it's the people poking and prodded, us. That's me. That's asking them 1,000 questions. So I would say it's a good portion of the time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you got.
Go
I'll
ahead,
touch real 2 seconds. You got to think too. All the questions you're asking, probably 2 nights before, another group came and asked all the same questions.
Yeah.
So, all right, go ahead, Dr. J. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would actually have to agree with both you guys, because some people come in and with the way they would actually conduct the investigation, it goes back to what they've seen on TV and stuff like that. And Nacho's been out there with me. He knows that when I go out on do an assessment, I don't go up and I'll probably ask for like a name maybe one time. Will I get a name? Probably not. But we're sitting over there and we're just having a normal conversation, and they would actually jump in with using like I said, the mag light or a REM pod or something, just to grab our attention, to let us know that, hey, I'm going to agree with you on this. And we just have a normal conversation. I don't ask, do you know you're dead, and stuff like that. But I would ask, the more divorce, there's that cat ball again. And just little things like that. Maybe if you could tell me, if they could tell us what the year was, just little things like that. Then I'll turn back around. We'll go talking again, and they get upset and they'll start, turn that stuff back on again. So yeah, if you can go in there and just have a normal conversation, don't ask the same thing, because for a fact, if Nacho went in night before you did, Justin, and said this exact same thing, you're dead, and you go in somebody with you, and you're dead, and they'll probably, that spirit is gonna be sitting there like, I just got asked this yesterday.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Now to go further with this question, I want to add a little bit to see what your opinion is do you think that, and I don't mean disrespect to any groups out there, but do you think that reactions or overreactions can also drain? And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
I was saying, it's our time you were like, I'm like, yeah, the people's overreaction, and the spirit's like, all I said was hello, and you're like running up the steps and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm like, no. Yeah, definitely not one of those people, because if I still see that same reaction, and we all watch Ghost Adventures, I guarantee every one of us on this thing has seen the way they reacted. How many groups have you saw reacted the same way? I've seen a couple.
Yeah.
And just like you said, if I was on that plane of existence and see that constantly, I'm like, no, I'm tired of even talking to these people. I don't want to talk to them because they're doing the same stupid stuff that the last group did.
Yeah, and you're right, because and I actually apologized to a spirit once. We were at Jonesville, and I was sitting on one of the beds, and it was this room where this man had accidentally burned down his mom's house. He was drunk, killed his mom. They actually shot him on the back patio of that rest home. They executed him. Because he was put to death. But we were told by the owner, like, hey, he doesn't really like to be asked these questions. And I forgot. And I just, I asked him, I said, I don't blame you for what you did, and I was just trying to have a conversation. And then all of a sudden, first time I've ever felt it. So it kind of threw me off guard, but I felt like somebody had set directly. It's one of those old hospital beds. So you feel if something is on the bed. It sank. And I just jumped up and I'm like, what? And I looked down and you could see where there was an imprint. and I kind of walked out and I walked back in. I'm like, I overreacted. I'm sorry. I'm not used to that. You'd sat down, you spooked me. I don't want that. I want this communication to continue. If you want to sit down, put your arm around me, feel free to, and I had to readdress myself because I did. I overreacted. It spooked me. We're in the middle of darkness and all of a sudden I feel the bed lean. I'm like, oh, okay, this is, but, and we ended up having a good interactions with that spirit. But, my overreaction could have led that spirit to say, is it worth even trying to communicate to tell my story?
Yep.
And that's where I had to readdress myself to center, like, I overreacted. I need to go and apologize, because I want to keep this dialogue going. I want to learn. That's what we're here for, is to tell these guys and gals stories or these spirit stories, in the history of it. That's my main goal, and my overreaction could have affected that. And so I had to self-center, whoa, overreacted. Don't be stupid. Go in there and apologize,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, like if I was a spirit, Nacho came in and say, "Hey, what's your name?" And I was like, "Brian," and he freaked out and like ran and was like, "Oh!" I'd be like, "What's up with this effing idiot, dude?" Like, that's my name. Like, I'm out of here. I mean, you got to treat them like you treat anybody, like spirits. I mean, that's why we're there. And too many people I think a lot of overreaction is for social media.
Yep.
I think they do that for social media. And, you see it all the time, like, hey, can you light this up? Or can you make the dead bell go off? And it goes off and like, oh, the dead bell. Like, yeah, everybody heard it in the whole house. Like, you don't have to say it, but we do it anyways, because you're actually filming also for the people watching, because they're interested in it too. That's why they're watching. So,
well, and you get that excitement, right?
Yeah.
Like if we get an EVP, because that's one of my favorite things is EVPs. And if I get an EVP, man, I am pumped, right? I'm excited. You're going to hear me like, did you hear that? I know you're listening, but did you, that's different than an overreaction of just for entertainment purposes,
Yeah.
And, I think it's great to see the excitement, of, oh, I asked this question and the light, the mag light turned off as I said, turn that light off for me. Boom. That's exciting because we have that dialogue going. And I think that that's where the good passion comes from. But yeah, if you would have said, what's your name? And they give you the name and the person runs out like, oh my God, come on. Now you're doing it just to be seen or heard,
I really like Project Fear. I watch almost everything they put out, but boy, do they overreact to every single thing. They come up with what I believe is some of it is really good information, but their overreactions, I don't think they're authentic, and I just think that they're so overdone, and it takes away from everything else. They're, oh my God, dude, and they're celebrating, and they're missing other things.
Yeah.
Who's the guys? The Foreman brothers, right? When they're hearing things, they'll point. And they don't necessarily. Sean will talk over everything, and I'm always screaming at the TV, "Shut up, Sean! Shut the fuck up! Just shut up!" Because he talks over everything. But usually they point and they're like, "Did you hear that?" Or listen, And to me, that is so much better to gather more information. Because if you're screaming and yelling and talking over it, you're missing everything else.
Yeah, and you're gonna throw that disruption in energy, I feel, because you're gonna provide such a different amped of energy where especially if you don't mean it and you're only doing it for a reaction, that's gonna put off a different energy, a different aura, essentially, that the spirit might be like, yeah, that's okay. Thanks for pushing me away. Like I'm out. So, and it's very important for that aspect of, when we hear footsteps, like it's one of those, like, like I hear it, you don't have to scream, you don't have to just point it out. It's exciting. Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, I want to scream because I'm like, whoa, that's cool. But center, Keep yourself composed. So, because you never know, you might catch something 2 seconds later, and
Mhm.
you don't want to disrupt that energy. I feel, and
And I feel
it's
that's
so.
exactly
Don't
what
get me
they're
wrong.
doing.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. If you're truly in it for the right reason and you have that passion and you catch an EVP and you get excited, it's happened to me. Just for when the guy sat down next to me, I got a little too amped up. That's going to happen in this field, but the difference is learning and growing. Of I need to not do that next time.
Yeah.
Oops. But it's the ones it's the same thing. Like I know what's going to happen on one of the videos that's next, and I'm not down in it, but for the sake of the field and the research that we're doing, you don't have to do all of that to gauge with your viewers and to gauge with the people that's watching. Just you being personable is what people want to connect to nowadays. And that's, as a team, you're going in to tell a story. They're going to connect with that more, I feel, as well. But don't get me wrong, they get their viewers. I'm one. I'll watch it, but
All right. So Almay Paranormal has another question. Man, she's throwing the questions out there. Nacho, I think she wants a shirt. I'm not sure.
She can have a shirt anytime she wants.
Well,
I
you
tell
get
her
to pick
all the time.
You get to pick the winner. I got your shirt, but it is freezing in his room, so that's why I didn't wear it tonight. I was going to wear it tonight. And I'm like, it's so cold. So, Dr. J, you can answer this. What's your favorite piece of equipment, and what is something you'll never use on an investigation? What's up,
Well,
RC Journal? Go ahead.
thank you. One of my favorites.
This stumps everybody. I don't know why.
I got a lot. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say, if it comes to more like a video recorder type deal, I would have to lean up on my thermal camera.
Okay.
I do like it.
Have you really gotten anything out there?
I've got some pretty cool little things from it. I really have, especially down in Greene County.
Yeah.
I've got some pretty cool stuff out of that.
Is there one piece of equipment you steer away from?
Piece of equipment that I was kind of stay away from. I would have to go off with a. I would have to say like a spirit board, Ouija board, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Not because I'm afraid of it. Everybody knows that I think it's just a piece of cardboard, but but I believe our subconscious can actually manipulate, that the little planchette and make it move. Because we're asking, but yet we're wanting it to move. So what's going to happen? I believe we're actually moving that.
yeah,
No.
subconsciously. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
so-
Like dowsing rods and Ouija boards, I kind of
Depends
steer
on-
away.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna try getting the dowsing rods again. I used them a lot in the beginning, and they're fun to use. Can you
Yeah.
say 100% you're not moving them? No.
Well, I would get the ones that I got a set that has its own little. It sits in its own bracket,
Okay.
and you can't even, when you hold it, you're not moving it. So if they're moving on their own.
Okay.
And then you can buy the ones that's operating with the ball bearings that you can't even move. So we got one of the guards got a set of that on my team, and they like using it.
Let's see. RC Chris is asking some questions here. What's something, any of you guys can answer this. What's something a paranormal investigator can do that completely makes you not want to investigate with them? And if there is one thing that an investigator can do that stands out the most. I just investigated with RC Paranormal. That's why he's asking this question. No, I'm joking. I think we had a good time.
What did you do, Ryan, that he can't stand?
I deleted that video, so don't worry.
For me, it depends how they can conduct themselves when they're out there. If you can't, I mean, you can go out there and have a good time. And believe me, I think like 4 videos up this morning of what we done to one of my guys last night. Funny asking me, you gotta have fun doing it though.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it, you gotta be able to conduct yourself professionally around people. Not do exactly what we was talking about. Don't be running around hollering, "Oh God," don't be a Zach Bagans. Don't be like that. That would be just for me like, no, I'm done. I would probably pack myself up and walk away right then.
I would say mine is the light. It agrees. I would say for me, it's just egotistical. If you're gonna present it and you're just, I want the center, and then also the way they interact with the spirits. Like, don't get me wrong. There's sometimes that I understand that you may want to challenge a spirit, and you may, but not to the point that it is going to be. First off, we're about respect, honor, and learning about these spirits. So if you're going to present yourself and you're going to MF that spirit or call that spirit names, I'm going to pack my stuff up and I'm leaving because I there's no sense in that. There's no sense in you antagonizing the spirit, because especially if it's in a location you've never been to and you're just going to antagonize it. Once again, we're talking about that energy disruption. You're going to cause a divide right there. And that just, to me, just ruins it. And then light pollution. Control your flashlights, man. Every time a noise, don't turn the flashlight on. Jeez.
Exactly.
You're up, Nacho.
Provoking spirits. That's my thing. You treat them the way that you want to be treated. You go in them, you give them the respect. Now, if you get one that's just calling you names I'm the king of being called names, dickhead, douchebag, asshole, fucker, whatever. I've been called it all.
Oh, me too.
And I just laugh it off.
Yeah.
I do. I laugh it off because whatever, if that's the spirit, that's the spirit. But I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to give them all the respect that I want in return. And if you want to go in there and be Zach Bagans and say, I dare you to do this, I command you to do, no, nobody wants that. And you're going to get a lot less out of your investigation just with that. And I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. What's up, Dalton?
And being respectful to the area, the building, house, whatever you're in, you gotta be respectful of it. And a lot of people obviously aren't. I've been to enough places and I've seen where, people graffiti, people tear something up, people take something home. I was always taught as a child, if it's not yours, keep your hands off of it.
Yep.
And I tried to convey that to my kids. If it's not yours, don't touch it.
Yep.
And it's just about being respectful. And that's my biggest thing is, if you can't respect the place or the spirits there, there's no room for you.
No, and it also goes with the community, right? Like, some of these places you have phenomenal communities. And if you're just going to show up and be noisy when you're out there, disrespectful to the surrounding area, that's another deal. Like, that's just, come on. Like, we want to represent the paranormal, community great, not give people a bad taste where they're like, oh, great, more ghost hunt, paranormal investigators are here now. That's not what we want. I want them to be excited that we're trying to figure out more about their community as well.
Yeah, so mine, I agree with everything you guys said. A negative person. I don't like putting myself around negative people and people that fake crap. Worked with a couple groups, seemed fake to me. So don't worry, it wasn't you, Nacho, or RC. No, it's just, I've worked with some people that just seem to fake. Like, I've done this for 20 years. You don't get answers every 5 seconds, all 12 hours straight. Like, come on, dude. Like, I can't do that. First of all, it looks bad on us, looks bad on my group, and I just can't deal with that. The negative things, I just can't. Negative people, and negative entities are negative entities. I can deal with them. They're easier to deal with than negative people. Like, I believe you have to be positive going into an investigation. We talked about before, that's my faith is what protects me, and being positive is part of it. So I need positive vibes around me. Yeah, I did an investigation with RC Paranormal, Madison Seminary. It was great. I'm going to tell you straight up, there's only 3 of us the whole night. And to have that whole place to yourself, I never met them before. They never met me. We get in there. We had a good time. Chris and Rochelle are just awesome, positive people. They like to have fun and investigate. So, and you'll meet them December 3rd, I think, at Madison. So it's a big hand there. I thought it was a fake hand at first.
I did too. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, that's unique.
So any other questions I'm missing here? A lot of people are asking stuff. So Dr. J, we'll just get your input. Like, since you've studied all this and someone new going into this field, what's the one advice you give them?
What I could tell someone that wants to get into this new, do the research, and before you go into a location, if there's like a local group they might want to jump in on or something like that, do the research on them. Definitely do really good research on them, because I would hate for someone new to get into this and they hit a group with bad intentions. We can say it that way. And yes, I've been working with a new one, little Dalton there, and yes, they probably didn't help any when we got his brother to jump into a crawl space, and one of the people over the building decided to walk him around on the opposite side to crawl in and scare him. But that's bad advice right there. But no, yeah, if anybody is watching that wants to get into this, do the research before you jump into it. I mean, anybody can make their own group. If you got the same like-minded people, just make sure everybody can get into the same mind state of it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to, off that a little bit. Like, if you're new, you want to get into this, you don't have a group or anything. There are places out there that do tours. There are places that do like flashlight tours and all that. You can jump into there. But also, Facebook is a good thing for most part. You can be a good judge of character by watching some videos of what they do. And I don't know really too many groups that will say no if you reached out to them. Say, hey, I'm new to this. I want to learn. Can I go with you on your next investigation? I'm like, yeah, I got one up in Madison coming up. Come try it out. We want everybody to learn the right way. So, but if you're new to this, like you said, do your research. Just not on the place, but the group you're going to go with too. Because you don't want to jump into someone that's just a Zach Bagans. So,
and just from us being a newer group, one thing that we ended up doing was the location that we went to kind of had a property manager, which was Austin Maynard, and I was like, did my research. I'm like, man, this guy's been around. I'm like, I'm gonna send him a message, figure out what devices, what's the best way. And most of the locations that you go to have connections to proper people, so don't be afraid to talk to the guides, or if you show up to a public hunt, talk to people there that can direct you. Most of the people most will direct you in the right direction here. And, when I reached out to Austin, that was the first thing is he's like, dude, super excited that you're, looking into this. And ever since, man, he's guided us and helped us. And I know he's always just a phone call away if I ever need anything. And that's what's amazing about that. So do your research, talk to the place that you're going to, that you're, to the guides or whatever, because they most likely know some very respectful people that are in this field that can help guide you and direct you as well.
RC asked, and we kind of went over this already earlier in the podcast. He jumped on late. I don't want to go too long here, but what got you into this, Nacho? I mean, same with Sops. Dr. J, you went over it all earlier. Hate to be that guy, RC, but you might just have to watch the whole podcast later. So, we talked about, Nacho, how you got into this. You want to do a quick little rundown?
He said I will. I got into it because my grandparents' house had some spirits in it. My sister had a room there, and if she didn't come home on time, her bedroom light would come on, stay on until she got home. I can't ever say there was anything really outstanding that happened there, but you just knew. My brother had a house that if his wife got upset with the kids and yelled at them, the kitchen cabinets would fly open and the stuff would come flying out of the cabinets. So I mean, that was a big eye opener. We had a lot of little things happen there for us. We felt like it was protecting us kids. And then when I moved into a house here in Penn Hills, we had just some crazy shit happening. And I reached out to a local group, and they came and did an investigation. And when they did that investigation, I was just like, I gotta get into this. And then I just kind of stuck into it. And I'm not going back. I mean, it's just every day you get deeper and deeper in this, and I'm at work doing shit, and all I can think about is, where am I going next, or who am I going to meet to get to go to this place? And to me, it's about the spirits, but it's also about people. You get to meet people. Ryan, you're a good example. I had never met you until you came out to the Grand Midway, but I knew that you were my kind of people just by interacting with you. Dr. J, I only met him a couple times, and then we started doing some investigation with him. He's my kind of people. So it's the people, it's the places. You get to go to such cool damn places. It's to me, it's a big thrill. And if we can prove anything at the end of the day, that's a huge win. And you know what? If there's things that I can't prove, that's a huge win too. Well, my real name is Jim Simmons, and nobody knows my name is Jim Simmons. Nobody calls me Jim Simmons.
All right, well, let's get to the point. How'd you come up with the name Nacho? Who gave that to you?
My son, who just turned 18, was 4-ish. I was a chef, and I used to teach people to barbecue, smoke foods, whatever. And I might have 20 people over at my house. We were all gathered along the back porch, and we were getting ready to eat all the food we made that day. And my wife at the time carried the house phone around with her. And if it rang and somebody went to leave a message, it played through the phone. Well, we're sitting out there getting ready to eat, and the phone rings, and everybody's like, shh. And I'm like, no, don't worry about that, Well, we get this voicemail. This call is for Bobby Melcho. If you're not Bobby Melcho, plus blah, 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 blah. So she just hangs up, shuts off. My kid, who, like I said, is 4 at the time, looks down at the end of the table to me and says, hey, Dad, you Bobby Nacho? Who are you hiding from? Well, from then on, I became Bobby Nacho.
That is awesome. That is so awesome.
Oh, man. Jim Simmons. I can't call you Jim. I'm sorry.
Nobody calls me Jim.
You don't even look like a Jim.
No.
No.
I don't know.
So I mean,
Like a nacho, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
it
that.
looks like
Yeah.
So I mean, so we're going to Madison a couple months. I think Justin, you guys are coming up too.
Yep.
A couple of you?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
So it actually lands on our unit day that we're at our other firehouse, and we went, and our chief is super supportive of us. Like he's actually he's been joining us on our public hunts down here at Broadwell and stuff. And we came to him, we're like, hey, we we need that day off, and he's like, I can let one off. I need one to find coverage. I'm like, done. So yeah, we will be there. So
it should be a good time. What I call it, the Fellowship of the Spirits. So I think there's like 6 groups of us, so it'll be fun.
that's
Be a
awesome.
good time. Then Nacho, I'm going to see you in a couple weeks. The Shanley
Really?
Hotel. That should be fun. I got a 7-hour drive ahead of me for that one. So
Nice.
I think
Which
it's only 4 for me.
which I'm
it'll be
working
fun.
on a location here. And I'll go ahead and give the name because it's not known very well, but it's called the Buchanan House. It's down in our township that we're but it's owned by a company that used to run the power plant down there off the river, and it used to be the deputies. It was a house built in the early 1800s, and the deputies, that used to be their south location that they would post up at and stuff. And there's been a lot of stories that we're getting from deputies, because now that they know that we do this, they're coming up like, did you guys go to this location? And but he mentioned the Buchanan House, and he's like, dude, he's like, you walk in there and there would be drawers that would just start slamming. He's like, so he's actually talking to the owners of the big shots there, and he's trying to get us down there. So if we can get a date put in, we're going to try to get with you guys and see if you guys can't come down this way and check it
Yeah,
out with us
definitely.
being first ones to go into it. So
So Dr. J, what's your favorite place to investigate?
Oh wow. I got a couple. I do. I have to say I do have a couple up in this area. One of them, not because I'm a staff member there, but I would have to say Hillview Manor. That's because every time I investigate the building, it completely changes. Uh, I had a few of us there a couple weeks ago, and we had a good time. Had a really good time. I got cussed and all that good stuff. And my second one would have to be the Greene County Historical Society. Both of them was county homes back in the day. So there's a lot of history in between both of those locations, and it's totally different day and night. It really is on both sides.
So couple questions here. Have you? No, I mean RC, you know my answer to this already. So have you ever actually been truly terrified to investigate alone, and where was that at?
mine's Broadwell home in the basement.
I'm telling you, I'm going down there. But before anybody goes in there, I'm going in the basement solo. Just let you know that when I go down there.
Man, I'm telling you, so the thing about Broadwell home that bugs me is I don't get many interactions there. Other people, man, they get interaction. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? But they had me stay in the basement once by myself, and energy just was shifting. You could feel the weirdness, and it was like, but I'm sitting there in complete darkness, and it just feels like everything is just over top you. And I'm like, they know that that's my weak spot is the basement in the Broadwell home. That place, that gets me. So
Is there any place, Nacho, you would not go alone?
No. No. I'm going to sound like a real asshole for saying like this. I don't get scared. I'm not afraid of anything. I was in a war. I've been shot at. I've killed somebody. I can't see anything scaring me. I was in the DOS house and something ran up the floor behind me, and that energized me. I wasn't scared. I'm like, yeah, what is this? And I'm not saying that I can't ever be scared. It's not a challenge for any spirits that are listening.
Sounds like a
But I
challenge to
just,
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing really scares me. To this point, nothing has really terrified me. I was there when at OSR, we were up in the Jesus room, and Deb and another young lady were sitting in a row of theater seats, and we heard boom, 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 boom. And as I spun around, the entire row of chairs was lifted up, and these two ladies were standing on their feet because of the way the chair was lifted. I thought that was really cool. These two ladies were terrified. And I understood why they were terrified, but for me, that was like, oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm searching for that. I don't know. I mean, I've been touched. I have what I believe was something walk through me, and I was a little off kilter for a few minutes. I mean, it was an experience that I can't explain, and it really kind of like made me question what the hell was going on. But I haven't had anything that has just totally terrified me yet.
I mean, for me, I mean, yeah, I might be a little nervous, you know, if I'm standing at the top of that stairs, mainly because I don't like using flashlights. To go down there might be a little like hesitant. I'm still going to do it because I like that feeling. I like that feeling of what can happen. That's what we're there to find out. Dr. J, any place you wouldn't go, like they said, Hillview Manor, like I'm sure you walk around there by yourself sometimes.
Oh yeah, I have. It depends, you know. Some it's not really like, you know, like, just like Nacho. Not the fact that I'm scared. I mean, we was logging up the building. That's probably back in early June, May, something like that. And we just had this group leave. A really good group. I mean, it was just fun to be around. So that was a plus for the building, you know. But we was logging up locked up the doors and stuff. From me and one of the other ones, we was coming up one north. Now, one north is actually the some of the most critical patients they kept down that side. And we was walking up, but we felt this like this energy coming behind us, and we, you know, and she was just medium psychic, well, however you want to put that in perspective on that title. And we was walking, me and her just stopped, and I looked at us. There's something following us because you could feel that energy change, you know. So we just kept on moving. It felt like it kept on getting closer and closer. Then all of a sudden, you started hearing footsteps behind us, and I'm like, "The hell is going on?" And I started thinking, well, one of the other guys had the same thing happen to him in that same hallway, but it stopped after he got farther up there. I thought, well, this will stop it a bit. So we kept on going. Well, it didn't stop. It kept on following us all the way from the other side of the building up to we go back into the lobby. They just stopped. So I'm like, okay, that was strange. Kind of spooked me a little bit, but I'm all right, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking a little step back, being like, okay, and go back at it. So yeah, RC Paranormal, Nacho did get hit back in the head. I'm guessing talk about the Shanley Hotel. That's because Nacho did not pay for a good time. So
I asked the girls how much they charged. The answer was 20. I never put down to 20, and the next thing I know, it felt like somebody hit me in the back of the head with a stick.
yeah, Gino.
I mean, it was no joke. It was no joke. That hurt.
That's where actually, guys. That's when I first met you guys. Really, I was on that live, and I reached out. So no, it was cool. I mean, that was a good investigation. I'm bringing some singles, so hopefully that's enough.
You better bring at least 20 singles.
Nah, I'm cheap, man. They'll have to deal with it. Deborah. Yeah, I mean, okay, Dr. J, we'll get Deborah. This is not against you, but what are your thoughts on sensitives and like everything, mediums and
Meaning, yeah, um, I don't have nothing against them. You know, like me and Nacho's talking about, I got like two of them on my team, and I lean on them a lot. But when it comes to like, if we go to like a new place or something, and they want to give a tour and stuff like that, those two know that they're not going on that tour. I don't want them on that tour at all.
Yeah.
Because I want them to go in a location more bonded. Not the fact that I want to prove that they can do this, but the way I see it, if they don't go into on a tour and they pick up and certain things, which now they can pick up on something that might happen. We might pick up at another location like 2 months down the road or something like that. And that's fine. It happens. But most of the times they can pick up, and we get validation on some of these places with what they pick up without them even going in. And, whoever's there that night, we'll go over there and we'll talk to them. They'll be like, yeah, that's exactly what the guy's name was, something like that. So I don't have nothing against it.
yeah, like when I first started this, I've been investigating for about 20 years, but really got into it like 2 or 3 years ago. Like sensitives are just like, I believe everybody's a sensitive.
Yes, we all have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Some are more in tune than others. I mean, you can't, everybody has walked into or walked past a room and be like, oh man, it doesn't feel right. So, but I'm getting more in tune with people that are more sensitives, more trusting them. Because in the beginning, I'm like, yeah, whatever, But working with other groups and working with other people now, then I see it just like crystals. Still not a believer in crystals. Never will be. Just put that out there right now. But I have no problem with crystals. I just don't think that they do anything. But I've met some people that, like you, Dr. J, who took a field and studied it. And I've met people that do crystals, study the crystals, everything it does. So it made me a little more believer in them. So I'm just pointing that out. I mean, I don't want to make Deborah all mad because I'm like not against sensitives or anything, but
There's a lot of people who call themselves, excuse me, mediums or whatever they want to call themselves, and they can't tell you shit about shit. They're just they're mouth service, right? They're just running their mouth. Oh, me, look at me. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this and that. And when it comes down to it, they can't give you anything. Those are the people that make the people that can do this look bad. And I'm very skeptical. I know a few people that are, and they're the real deal. And because I know them, I don't have that blanket statement over everybody, but there's a lot of them, man. They're just.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you work with Deborah.
I can't stand it.
So, I mean, you work with Deborah. She gets a feeling, gets, a sensitive feeling. And you guys verify that because I work with you guys. So you can say she is a sensitive, So that verifies that.
One that will tell you, there's a little boy in this room and he's 8 years old and he wants you to come over and sit in this chair. And she certainly isn't the one that's going to walk in and say, oh, hey, I see you over there. What are you doing? She doesn't do that. She reads the room and she tells you what she feels. And that's really where it goes. She doesn't get into all this. So-and-so was here and this happened here. She doesn't do that. She will just read the room and tell you, this feels good. This feels bad. I'm unsteady on my feet, which usually is something that's unsettling in that room. Stuff like that. But the ones that get me are the ones that want to say, oh, hey, there's a little girl in that corner over there, and she's wearing a blue dress with white polka dots, and she wants you to go over and hold her hand. There's very few people in this field that can actually do that, but there's way too many that say they can, and that's where I have a problem with. You said people faking investigations. Uh, to me, that's right there with it, and if you can't be genuine, I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of podcasts together, a few of them. What's one thing I always say about sensitives and mediums? Prove it. Prove it.
And that's the bottom line. Prove it.
So we are an hour 40 minutes into this, and we're gonna have to wrap this up sooner or later. Nacho, you gonna give out a shirt or swag?
Well, I guess Almay's going to have to get a shirt because she asked a lot of great questions.
Yeah, RC, you're close, but
Paranormal came on pretty strong at the end.
Yeah, you're last but not least. But no, again, Dr. J, thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Come again anytime you want on. We have a low in a fight. Podcast wise, I'll give you a Nacho shirt tonight. No, I mean, again, always welcome to come on. I tell all my guests that. Thanks for your knowledge. Again, leaving with more questions than answers. I mean, that's the paranormal world, right?
Yep.
My wife's probably going to hate me when I order 4 different recorders now, and she wants to know I'm ordering 4 different recorders. But I'm like, it's Dr. J's fault. He told me I need 4 recorders. No, but I definitely order some more recorders, and so quadruple the editing time there. So it'll be worth it. Nacho, Justin, always a privilege. We'll figure out who our next special guest will be next month, and Nacho, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Both groups.
Paranormal, send us your address.
No, RC don't get anything. He was last.
I have up to 4X. I might have a 5X somewhere too.
So, yeah. So maybe next time a little Southern Ohio will be good to do a little giveaway. We can convince him to it. We'll go around the room. Dan, if you are watching this or come, I do have your stuff because I had to reorder hats because the first order was terrible. Sitting on my table here, it'll be mailed out shortly. Sorry for that being late again. We're going to wrap this up like I always do. Again, Dr. J, thank you again. We'll keep in touch, and I like watching your stuff on Facebook, and hopefully get out to Hillview sometime and meet you. So,
oh yeah, definitely. We can plan something out.
Yeah, definitely. I've been wanting to get out there, just haven't yet. All right, so this is how I do this. I just hit end, and we end it. So again, everybody, thanks for asking your questions. Appreciate you being on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
See you.